Captain Elias Rourke sat quietly in the strange room. The walls glowed softly with a blue light that made everything look calm, but Elias's mind was full of questions. Why had the Queen smiled at him? Why did she say, "I know you, human"? And most of all, and what did she mean by "I remember the fire"? After a few minutes, the heavy door slid open. 2 Iliari guards appeared and motioned for Elias to follow them. He rose slowly, his body still tired from the long journey and the shock of being captured without a fight. They led him down long halls filled with shimmering lights and strange symbols. Elias felt like he was walking inside a dream. Finally, they stopped in front of a large room with glass walls. Inside, a figure waited. It was the Queen herself, Saravira. Her silver eyes shone with a strange light as she looked at Elias. "Sit," she said softly. Elias obeyed and took a seat across from her. Saravira smiled again, but this time there was something deeper in her expression. "You are different from other humans," she said. "Your arrival was not an accident." Elias frowned. "What do you mean? Why did you capture us without fighting?" "Because I needed to see you," she said. "You carry a memory, a fire inside you. You are the echo." Elias's heart beat faster. "The echo? What is that?" Saravira's gaze grew serious. "Long ago, before your species walked among the stars, our ancestors fought a terrible war, a war that almost destroyed everything." She paused, searching for the right words. "During that time, a being appeared, a warrior who looked like your kind. He carried the power of fire and will. He saved us from destruction. We called him the Echo because his presence was like a voice from the past and the future." Elias shook his head. "That sounds like a story or a myth." Saravira smiled softly. "Many would call it a myth, but I have seen the records, I have seen the truth." She reached out her hand and a glowing orb floated between them. Inside the orb, a holographic image appeared. Elias saw battlefields, strange creatures, and a figure that looked exactly like him. The figure wore ancient armor and led alien armies into fight. "Who is that?" Elias asked, staring at the image. "That is you," Saravira said quietly. "Or someone like you. A version of humanity from a time long forgotten." Elias's mind raced. How could this be? Humanity was a young species, just starting to explore space. How could they have fought in a war before? "The truth is," the Queen continued, "humanity is not like other species. You exist beyond time. You are a species that returns when the galaxy needs fire again." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. "Are you saying I am some kind of reincarnation?" "In a way," she said. "You carry memories from a time when the stars burned bright with war. Those memories are inside your blood, your DNA." Elias thought about the strange feeling he had when he first boarded the Kestrel. A strange power, a warmth deep inside him. Maybe the Queen was right. "But why me? Why now?" Elias asked. "Because the war is not over," Saravira said, her voice dropping. "The enemy we fought before is coming back, the Varnak." Elias's eyes widened. He had never heard of the Varnak. "They are creatures of darkness," the Queen explained. "They consume everything, stars, planets, life. We believed they were destroyed long ago. But they have waited, hidden in the shadows." "Why would they come now?" Elias asked. "Because the fire is returning," she said. "You." Elias looked down at his hands. He didn't feel special or powerful. He was just a man, a soldier who wanted to survive. Saravira stood and walked to a window. Outside, the throne world floated in space, a shining jewel in the darkness. "We have prepared for their return," she said. "But we need your help. You know things we have forgotten. You have the fire inside you." Elias looked at her and nodded slowly. "I don't know what I am yet, but if this is true, if I am some kind of hope, then I will do what I can." The Queen smiled again. This time it was full of hope and sadness. "You will not be alone," she said. Your crew is safe. They are being treated with respect. And soon, you will meet with them again. Elias's mind was full of new questions, but he felt a strange calm. Maybe he was meant to be here. Maybe he was more than just a soldier. The door opened and an Ilyari attendant entered. "The Queen invites you to see the Vault of Origins," he said. "What is that?" Elias asked. "The place where history sleeps," the attendant replied. Elias stood and followed him down another hallway, deeper into the heart of the Ilyari Empire. His heart beat faster. He was about to see things no human had ever seen. Captain Elias Rourke stepped cautiously into the Vault of Origins. The room was enormous, much larger than he expected. It was filled with glowing machines, floating screens, and rows of strange artifacts. The air smelled faintly of metal and something old, very old. Saravira, the Ilyari queen, walked beside him. Her silver eyes scanned the glowing walls. "This is where the history of the galaxy is kept," she said softly. "The stories of stars, wars, and ancient beings." Elias felt a mix of awe and fear. He had always thought history was in books and holograms on Earth. But this was different. This was alive. "Show me," Elias said quietly. "Show me what you saw before." The Queen nodded and touched one of the glowing panels. A hologram flickered to life. It showed a star map, older than anything Elias had seen. Bright points of light moved across the screen, fleets of ships, planets burning, and a great shadow lurking at the edge. "The Varnak," Saravira said. "The destroyers." Elias watched as the shadow grew. The Varnak were massive creatures, neither machine nor organic, but something in between. They spread like a plague, devouring everything in their path. The galaxy had once fought a terrible war to stop them. "And this," the Queen said, "is where you come in." Elias frowned. "Me? I'm just a soldier. How can I be part of this?" Saravira looked at him with quiet respect. "Because you carry the echo. The fire that stopped the darkness once before." She moved to another panel. This one showed a man. The man looked exactly like Elias. Same face, same eyes, same build. He wore armor that looked both ancient and strange, glowing with light. "That is you," Saravira said. "Or who you once were." Elias stared. He saw himself leading armies, commanding fleets, fighting against the Varnak with a fierce determination. "How is this possible?" he asked. "I've never seen this before." "Because your memories are buried deep," the Queen explained. "You are part of a cycle, a being reborn when the galaxy needs fire again." Elias's mind spun. He remembered flashes, not dreams, but real memories. Battles, pain, courage, loss. He had thought they were nightmares. Saravira's voice was soft now. "You are not the first Elias Rourke. You are the latest in a long line of warriors who have fought to protect the stars." Elias swallowed hard. "But the Varnak are supposed to be gone. Dead." The Queen shook her head. "They were hidden, waiting. They have evolved, grown stronger." Suddenly the vault's lights dimmed. An alarm began to ring, loud and urgent. "Something is coming," Saravira said, her eyes sharp. "The Varnak fleet approaches." Elias's heart pounded. The stories were true. The war was starting again. "We must act," Saravira said. "And you will lead us." Elias looked at her, unsure. "Me? How can I lead an empire I don't understand?" The Queen stepped close. "Because you remember, and because you are human." Elias took a deep breath. He felt the fire inside. The echo. It was time. "Then let's get ready," he said. The great halls of the Ilyari throne world were alive with activity. Soldiers prepared weapons. Engineers worked on starships, and advisors argued strategies. Captain Elias Rourke stood at the center of it all. wearing armor that seemed to glow with a light of its own. This armor was not ordinary. It had been made in the Queen's ancestral forge, a place that used ancient technology to create powerful suits. When Elias touched it, the armor fit perfectly as if it knew him. It connected to his body and mind like a second skin. Elias felt stronger, faster, more alive. The fire inside him burned brighter than ever. Sarah Vera, though still weak from her injuries, stood beside him. "You are ready," she said. "You carry the power of our ancestors." Elias nodded. "Then let's stop the Varnak." Outside, the Iliari fleet waited in orbit. Their ships were beautiful and deadly, shaped like stars and arrows. But Elias knew this battle would be unlike any other. The Varnak were not just monsters. They were a force of nature, dark and terrible. The Kestrel and the other human ships were assigned to a special squadron under Elias's command. His crew looked at him with hope and fear. They believed in him and because he was different. "Listen up," Elias said, his voice steady. "This enemy is unlike any we've faced, but we have something they don't. Willpower. We fight not just for ourselves but for every life in the galaxy." His words made the crew stand taller. They were ready to follow him anywhere. The battle began in the cold, black space beyond, the throne world. The Varnak swarm moved like a dark storm, fast and unstoppable. Their ships were strange, living creatures made of shadow and bone. Elias's fleet opened fire. Bright beams cut through the darkness. Explosions lit up the void. But the Varnak did not fall easily. Their hulls regenerated quickly and their attacks were fierce. In the chaos, Elias piloted his ship closer to the largest Varnak vessel, the Hive Mother. This enormous ship was the heart of the enemy fleet. "Prepare to board," Elias ordered. "We take the fight inside their nest." His team suited up and moved through the airlock. The moment they entered the Hive Mother, the ship's dark corridors seemed alive. The walls pulsed, and strange creatures hissed from the shadows. Elias led his team forward, his armor glowing to light the way. They fought wave after wave of Varnak warriors. The fighting was brutal and exhausting. Finally, they reached the core chamber. There, waiting for him, was the Varnak Prime, a giant creature with many eyes and sharp claws. It snarled when it saw Elias. "You again," it hissed. "You burn wrong." Elias raised his weapon. "I'm here to end this." The battle was fierce. The Prime was strong and fast, but Elias fought with something more, the fire of the echo inside him. His armor responded, giving him strength and speed beyond human limits. In a final move, Elias struck the Prime with a blast of energy. The creature screamed and collapsed. The Hive Mother began to shake. The team raced back to their ships as the enemy vessel exploded behind them. The victory was costly. Many brave soldiers were lost. Sarah Vera's condition worsened, and she was taken to stasis to heal. Before she went, she placed a hand on Elias's shoulder. "You are Imperator now, the leader we need." Elias looked out at the stars. The war was far from over, but hope had returned. The battle against the Varnak was over, for now. "Captain," Elias Rourke stood on the bridge of the Kestrel, staring out into space. The stars seemed quieter, but Elias knew the silence was temporary. The war was not finished. It never truly ended. Sarah Vera, the Iliari queen, was resting in stasis deep inside the throne world. Her body was healing, but her mind was awake, watching the galaxy through dreams and memories. Elias felt the weight of his new title, Imperator, the leader of an empire and the hope of many species. It was more than he had ever imagined, yet he accepted it, not for power, but for responsibility. His crew gathered around him. They looked tired, but their eyes held fire. They believed in the future, because of Elias. "Today we begin to rebuild," Elias said, "not just to fight the darkness, but to unite the stars, to protect all life." The Iliari leaders nodded, their faces serious but hopeful. The Sior galaxy was vast, filled with dangers and wonders. But Elias knew something important. The fire inside him was not just for war, it was for peace. He thought about the Queen's words, about the echo and the cycles of time. Maybe humanity was not just a young species after all. Maybe they were the spark that would keep the stars alive. Days turned into weeks. Elias traveled the empire, meeting new species and old friends. He learned about their cultures, their fears, and their dreams. He shared stories of Earth and the humans who fought with courage and heart. One evening, on the throne world's balcony, Elias looked up at the stars again. The sky was full of light, ships moving between worlds, children playing under alien moons and the soft glow of distant suns. A soft voice called to him, "Imperator." Elias turned to see Saravira, no longer weak but strong, standing beside him. "You have done well," she said. "The fire burns brighter because of you." Elias smiled. "I couldn't have done it without you." She took his hand gently. "We are connected, you and I, human and Iliari. Together, we will protect the future." Elias looked at the stars once more and whispered, "For the first time, I believe the fire will never die." The galaxy was changing, and so was he. The echo was alive and a symbol of hope, strength, and unity. And this was just the beginning. Commander Elias Ward stood at the heavy steel door of the Zirath Dominion's palace, his heart beating faster than he wanted to admit. The door was massive, decorated with strange symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the dim light. It took a moment before the huge door slowly slid open with a soft hiss. Inside was the throne room. It was unlike anything Elias had ever seen. The walls seemed alive, made of a smooth, glowing material that pulsed softly like a heartbeat. Strange plants with shimmering leaves grew along the edges, and the air smelled sweet but unfamiliar. In the center of the room, on a tall throne carved from crystal and metal, sat the alien queen, Virelia. She was unlike any being from Earth. Her skin was covered in tiny, shining scales that changed color with the light. Her eyes were large, clear and bright like diamonds, but filled with a strange intelligence. Long antennae waved gently from her head as she watched Elias carefully. The room was silent except for the low hum of strange machines hidden in the walls. Around the throne stood guards, tall and strong insect-like warriors, their armor shining under the soft light. Elias took a deep breath and stepped forward. His uniform was neat but worn, the signs of many battles clear on his face and hands. He had come to the heart of the enemy's empire to deliver a message from Earth, a message of peace. The guards watched him with cold, unreadable faces. No one spoke. Then, without warning, the alien queen stood. She moved smoothly, with grace that seemed almost impossible for a creature so tall. Her large eyes locked onto Elias's, and she smiled. "I know you, human," she said in a voice that was both soft and strong. The court around her gasped. Elias froze. He had never met this queen. How could she know him? The room grew tense. The guards raised their weapons slightly, and Elias's hand went to his side, ready in case of trouble. "Your Highness," Elias said carefully, "I am Commander Elias Ward of the Terran Alliance. I come in peace, with a message from Earth." For Queen's smile did not fade. "Peace is a strange word between us, human, but I remember you. I have waited a long time to see you again." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. "I don't understand, Your Highness. We have never met." Virelia's eyes softened for a moment. "Perhaps not in this life, but I have known you since the stars were young." The guard shifted uneasily. Whispers spread across the room like a wind through dry leaves. Elias looked around, then back to the queen. "What do you mean?" The queen moved closer, her gaze never leaving him. "Long ago, in a time before the Great War, you saved a life that was not your own." Elias frowned. "I have done many things in war, but I do not remember saving any Zirathi." Virelia's antennae twitched as she spoke. "That life was mine. Elias felt as if the air had become heavy. "You mean, yes," she said. "When your ships attacked our planet, you made a choice. One that many do not know." Elias's mind raced back to a dark memory from years ago. A secret mission on Zarathi Prime. They were supposed to destroy a hatchery, where the enemy bred their young soldiers. But during the attack, he remembered something small hiding in the shadows. Something alive and fragile. Against orders, he saved it and brought it away from the fire. He had thought it was a small insect. Nothing important. But now the Queen was telling him it was her. Virelia's voice was gentle. "I am the one you saved. I am the Queen because you gave me life." The room was silent. No one dared speak. Even the guards looked uncertain. Elias took a deep breath. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because the war must end," she said simply. "Because fate brought you here and the stars demand peace." Elias looked at her, searching her face for any sign of trickery. He found none. The Queen's eyes held truth and something else, a hope he had not felt in many years. He lowered his hand from his side, but his mind was still alert. "Many will not believe this story," Elias said. "Both sides have lost too much. They see only enemies." Virelia nodded slowly. "That is why I have brought you here to speak with me and to prove that we are not so different." Elias felt the weight of her words. This was a chance, maybe the only one, to end the bloodshed. Suddenly, a sharp sound cut through the silence. The guards stiffened, weapons raised. From the shadows, a figure stepped forward. A Zarathi noble, tall and fierce, his eyes burning with anger. "This human is a traitor to our kind. How can you trust him, Queen? He is a killer." The Queen raised a hand and the man stopped. "Enough," she said. "Elias saved me when I was a child. His actions shaped the future. This is truth." The noble growled but stepped back. The court murmured in disagreement, but the Queen's word was law, for now. Elias felt the eyes of the entire court on him. He was no longer just a soldier or diplomat. He was a symbol, a living link between two worlds. Virelia stepped down from her throne and approached him. "Walk with me," she said. They moved through the glowing halls of the palace, their footsteps echoing softly. Elias looked at her. "How do you know so much about me? How do you remember?" The Queen smiled. Again. "There are things beyond memory and time. You touched my life in ways even you cannot see. I carry your story in my heart." They reached a large window overlooking a vast city of glowing towers and flying ships. The stars shone bright beyond the dome of the palace. "We are at a crossroads, Elias," she said. "Will we choose war, or will we choose to build something new?" Elias looked out at the stars. He thought of Earth, of the battles and losses, of his family waiting for him. He thought of the promise in the Queen's eyes. He made his choice. "I want peace," he said simply. Virelia smiled one last time. "Then we begin." The palace doors closed behind them as the future of two worlds hung in the balance.